Today, we're jumping right into Sri Ramakrishna's early life, specifically those first days and experiences at the Dakshineswar Kali temple.
Right. And we're drawing from the biography, Life of Sri Ramakrishna, a complete biography. It's quite detailed.
Exactly. And we know listeners want to get the key insights, quickly, but also thoroughly. So we're aiming to pull out those really crucial moments, the relationships that shaped him there.
It's really about understanding those foundational experiences, isn't it? How they set the stage for everything that followed. So yes, pinpointing those key events and connections, that's the goal.
Okay, so let's set the scene a bit. You've got the brand new Kali temple at Dakshineswar, and then there's Mathur, Rani Rasmani's son-in-law, very observant.
A key figure, definitely.
Yeah, and he starts noticing this strange young man, as the biography puts it, someone with this really striking devotion, and then not long after, someone very important arrives, a companion.
And Mathur's initial, fascination is a great starting point. He sees this young man, Sri Ramakrishna, and is just drawn to him. It wasn't just casual observation.
No, the text says he was genuinely puzzled by his strong attraction to this humble Brahmin youth. He finds out it's Ram Kumar's younger brother.
And Ram Kumar, his own brother, apparently thought Sri Ramakrishna had a rather peculiar outlook.
Yeah, strange psychology is the term used. Basically, indifferent to money, pleasure, very independent. Not your typical candidate for temple work,
Which makes sense why Ram Kumar was a bit reluctant when Mathur first showed interest in getting Sri Ramakrishna involved.
Right. Mathur maybe backed off slightly then, but you get the sense he'd already clocked something unusual, something special about him.
That intuition, sometimes it just overrides the practical concerns, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And speaking of important people showing up, enter Hriday.
Hriday, yes. A constant presence for, 25 years?
An incredible length of time. The biography paints him as this faithful attendant, a constant friend, and importantly, a witness to Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual experiences, his realizations.
His arrival seems almost providential, given what was to come.
And he was family, right?
Yes, closely related. He was the son of Khudiram's sister, Hemanjini Devi. So Sri Ramakrishna's nephew, technically, though they were closer in age and grew up together, Sri Ramakrishna often visiting his village.
Okay. So that pre-existing bond must have helped.
Definitely.
So why did Dharma come to Dakshines? Was he seeking spiritual life too?
Not initially, no. It seems more practical. He was looking for a job, basically. Hadn't had much luck finding work back home or in Burdwan.
So he thought of his uncles at the new temple?
Exactly. He hoped that connection might open a door. And when he arrived, Sri Ramakrishna was apparently just thrilled to see him. Delighted is the word used.
That makes sense, having family arrive in a new place.
And they clicked immediately. Hriday just seemed to accept his uncle's, let's say, unconventional ways? Maybe because he knew him from childhood. He was just drawn to him, became his constant shadow. They were pretty much inseparable, sometimes even ate separately, with Sri Ramakrishna cooking his own food with things Hriday got.
And this bond became really vital later on, didn't it, during those intense spiritual states?
Oh, absolutely crucial. The biography really stresses this, especially during what it calls Sri Ramakrishna's periods of God intoxication and samadhi.
Right, God intoxication.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate slightly on how the book describes that?
Well, it portrays it as these times when he was so completely absorbed in spiritual ecstasy that he was totally detached from the physical world, almost unaware of his surroundings.
And samadhi.
Deep, profound meditative states, transcendental absorption, where the line between self and the divine just seemed to dissolve. And during these times, he apparently couldn't even manage basic self-care.
Wow. So Hriday had to.
Had to do everything, essentially. Feed him, care for him. The biography calls Hriday's arrival almost providential for this reason. Describes him as clever, energetic, willing to put up with anything for his uncle.
So Hriday's support was fundamental for Sri Ramakrishna to pursue those intense practices.
It certainly seems that way. Couldn't have done it without him, perhaps.
Meanwhile, Mathur hasn't given up, right? He's still watching Sri Ramakrishna.
Exactly, and Sri Ramakrishna knew it. He was aware Mathur wanted to bring him into the temple priesthood properly.
But he was resistant.
Very much so. His focus was entirely inward, on spiritual discipline, the text mentions, conquest of the flesh, renunciation of wealth, attainment of God consciousness. Formal duties were a distraction he actively tried to avoid.
He was trying to dodge Mathur, basically.
Pretty much. But you can't really hide in a temple garden forever, can you?
No. And something happened with his Shiva image.
Yes. A key moment. Sri Ramakrishna had actually sculpted this Shiva image himself, and one day he was deeply absorbed worshipping it right there in the temple compound.
And Mathur saw it.
Well, he managed to get close while Sri Ramakrishna was meditating, yes. And he was incredibly impressed by the sculpture itself, the artistry.
So he asked who made it.
Yes, and when he found out it was Sri Ramakrishna, he was thrilled. Asked if he could have the image after the worship was done.
So this just made Mathur even more determined.
Absolutely. It strengthened his resolve to get him involved, even though Ram Kumar was still, hesitant. Mathur saw something Ram Kumar perhaps didn't fully grasp yet.
It highlights that tension, doesn't it? His inner drive versus the temple structure and expectations.
Precisely. Living there, interaction was bound to happen.
And it did. Mathur finally cornered him.
Well, not quite cornered, but he saw Sri Ramakrishna and Hriday talking near the Kali temple and basically sent for him before he could disappear again.
And Sri Ramakrishna hesitated.
He did, but Hriday, ever the practical one, just asked him, why hang back? What's the problem?
Hriday kind of pushed him forward.
Seems like it. And Sri Ramakrishna explained his reluctance. He didn't want the responsibility, didn't want to be bound for life by temple duties, especially worried about the valuable ornaments of the goddess.
He really didn't want that kind of tie.
No, but Hriday's response was simple. What's the harm? He's a good man. It's no shame to work for him. He probably saw it as his chance for stable work, too.
Ah, good point.
So Sri Ramakrishna proposed a condition.
Which was?
He had agreed to some kind of service, but only if Hriday took full responsibility for the ornaments.
Passing the buck, in a way.
Yeah.
Or just avoiding that specific material burden.
More the latter, I think. Consistent with his nature.
And Hriday agreed.
Readily. This was his in. So Sri Ramakrishna then spoke to Mathur, laid out the condition, and Mathur agreed.
So they were both appointed.
Yes. Sri Ramakrishna got the task of dressing and decorating the Kali image, something requiring artistry and devotion, perhaps less rigidly structured. And Hriday was appointed to assist both Ram Kumar and Sri Ramakrishna.
Okay, so he's finally officially involved. And then comes this really famous incident, right? The broken Krishna image.
Yes, this happens very soon after he takes on these duties. And it wasn't just some minor issue, it caused a huge stir.
What was the background there?
Well, standard practice was to move the images of Krishna and Radha from the main shrine to a separate room between services, sort of like resting them.
Okay.
And the day after Janmashtami, the festival celebrating Krishna's birth, the priest carrying the Krishna image, CH8, slipped on the marble floor.
Oh no.
And dropped the image. Its leg broke.
That sounds serious in that context.
It was. Immediate commotion. CH8 was fired on the spot. Everyone saw it as a terrible omen for Rani Rasmani and the temple.
And the official ruling?
The pundits, the scholars were consulted. Their verdict was clear. A damaged image cannot be worshipped. It had to be consigned to the Ganges and a new one installed. A replacement was ordered immediately.
Shows how strictly these rules were followed.
Very much so. But Rani Rasmani felt a strong connection to this particular image. She had worshipped it for years.
She didn't want to just discard it.
No. And Mathur, who by now was really impressed by Sri Ramakrishna, maybe seeing his trances, sensing his unique perspective, suggested she ask Sri Ramakrishna for his opinion before doing anything drastic.
Interesting. Turning to the newcomer over the established scholars.
Shows how much Sri Ramakrishna's influence was already growing, doesn't it?
So they told Sri Ramakrishna the situation.
Yes. And his response, apparently delivered while in one of his elevated spiritual states, was basically to call the pundit's solution ridiculous.
Direct.
Very. And then he used this brilliant analogy. He asked, essentially, if the Rani's son-in-law broke his leg, would she throw him out and get a new one?
Oh, wow, that's powerful.
Or would she arrange for him to be treated? Why not do the same here? Just repair the image and continue worshiping it. So simple, so human.
It completely reframes the issue, doesn't it? From ritual law to relational compassion.
Exactly. It cut right through the dogma. The pundits were apparently baffled at first.
I bet.
But the sheer common sense and, heart in his argument won them over eventually. They couldn't really argue against that logic.
And Rani Rasmani must have been relieved.
Overjoyed, the text says. And remembering his skill with that Shiva statue, she asked him to do the repair.
And he did.
Yes, agreed readily, and apparently mended the leg so perfectly you couldn't even see the break afterwards. Incredible skill.
Amazing. So he saved the image. What happened to the new one they ordered?
And another interesting bit. When the new statue arrived, Mathur, maybe testing Sri Ramakrishna's insight again, asked him if the new one was exactly the same as the original.
Okay.
Sri Ramakrishna went into a trance and stated quite firmly, no, it is not the same.
And they accepted his word.
They did. The new image was respectfully set aside. It just further cemented this perception of his extraordinary spiritual perception.
So, with the original priest gone,
Right, Kshitranath's post was vacant, and Mathur, now utterly convinced of Sri Ramakrishna's value, his wisdom, his skill, his insight, asked Ramkumar to persuade his brother to take the job.
and this time,
Perhaps because of how the whole broken image thing resolved, Sri Ramakrishna consented. He agreed to become the priest.
and Hriday.
Hriday was formally appointed to assist Ramkumar with dressing and decorating Kali, the job Sri Ramakrishna had initially taken under condition, so everything sort of fell into place.
It really feels like a series of almost inevitable steps, looking back.
It does. When you piece it together, Mathur's persistent interest, Hriday showing up right when needed, Sri Ramakrishna's initial resistance slowly giving way, and then this pivotal broken image incident. It all weaves together.
These early days really set the foundation.
Absolutely foundational. You see his unique character emerging, his relationship with Hriday solidifying, and his standing within the temple community changing dramatically.
And that aha moment for me is still his solution for the broken statue. It wasn't just clever. It showed this completely different way of relating to the divine, didn't it? Practical, compassionate.
Unconventional wisdom, you could say. And it clearly struck a chord with Rani Rasmani and Mathur, moving beyond just rigid rules. It's a fantastic illustration of his whole approach, really.
Yeah, it tells you so much.
And for our listeners, thinking about getting that quick yet deep understanding, these events are the key. They show the forces and relationships shaping his path right from the start at Dakshenswar.
So maybe a final thought to leave people with. Consider how often small things, or the arrival of just the right person, can completely change a life's direction.
Definitely. And also, how often do we maybe get stuck on the rules or the official way of doing things, like the pundits initially?
Right, when maybe a simpler, more human solution is right there, just waiting for a different perspective. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, what other problems might look different if we approach them with that kind of grounded empathy?
Something to think about. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.
I hope you like this chapter. We need volunteers and sponsors to create content with even better quality and with more variety. If you wish to join this initiative as a volunteer or sponsor, please click the links given in description below. To help us reach more viewers, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Biography Central. Thank you for your time. It means a lot. Namaste.